From Channelside Drive, where Lord Stanley Cup rests.
Time ticks down! The Lightning win the Stanley Cup!
Travel across the bridge to St. Pete to find our American League champs.
And the Tampa Bay Rays have just won the American League pennant.
And get ready to fire the cannons.
Lob pass toward the end zone. Gronkowski, he makes the catch. Touchdown Tampa Bay. What a great grab by Gronk.
Because it's time for another episode of Play the Bay. Play the Bay.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Play the Bay. I am one of your co-hosts, Kaylee Chakosky, and I'm here with Evan and Chip. Guys, the Bucks are still alive in the playoffs.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Bucks are moving on to the divisional round. It's Brady versus Brees, part 3. Hold on, let me put this up here too.
Put up, there you go. Get the there you go.
I love that graphic. Whoever made that deserves a raise, to be honest.
It's a History Channel show in the makings. Look at those two grizzled vets. Wow. Drew Brees looks like a science teacher.
He does. Oh.
And then Tom Brady looks like the most interesting man.
A cabin guy.
Yeah.
He looks like a bad Santa Claus.
Like a badass or a bad Santa Claus?
Like one that almost like, well, who's that guy in that movie? Billy Bob Thornton.
Ah, like bad Santa.
That's like the vibe that it gives me, like where he just is like a Santa Claus, but he like legit breaks and enters and steals things.
With this picture, this is screaming, please, we need hip surgeries immediately. Don't hurt us. Send us our ARP cards. Make sure everything's moving. Good.
It looks like Tom Brady could be like in an old an action. He could be an Expendables 7, like with Sylvester Stallone. He could be in there with Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's what Tom Brady strap on some machine gun bullets and then get him like the double barrels and then slap him in there for Expendables 17 and a half. That's what you can do for Tom Brady right now.
Oh, this really is hilarious, but.
It is.
Hey, we made it just like we all said. We see what they had to do to get to the next step. Mike Evans played great. So, hey, next step, we move on.
Alive and well. Alive and well. Not the game they'd probably like to see coming up, but it's the game they got. So,
that's true.
Wins the wins.
Oh, are you playing with house money? You got to do it.
You got to do it,
Speaking of betting, Chip, are you going to be betting this weekend?
I mean, I don't bet anymore because I'm horrible at it. I'm a horrible gambling person. But I might make a bet like a guy bet maybe with you and I maybe.
I'm okay with doing that.
Maybe something like that.
Are you betting, Evan? Do you bet?
I bet occasionally. I'm terrible at it too, just like Chip is. But I might do it this weekend for the divisional round. But I need a place where I can go bet. Is there a place where I can go bet, Kayla?
You know what? There is a place you can go bet at betonline.ag. The Super Bowl in Tampa is coming up right around the corner. So if you are looking to place a bet on any of the sports coming up, any of the games that are this weekend or until the Super Bowl, betonline.ag is the best and only place to lock it in. From game spreads and totals to team, player, and coaching props, BetOnline gives you more options to wager than any other place online. Yes. And there's always the online casino, which never closes. So that's a fun fact. I know. Yeah, that actually surprised me. The online casino does not close. So I know. Yeah, it doesn't sound like the best thing for me because I'm a person who gets really into it and I would never be able to get off. But for those of you,
I'd tell you one thing though. Great job on the ad read for first timer. That's right. First time ad read. Thank you. Take a bow.
Thank you.
First time ad read. That's okay.
Head over to betonline.ag.
Did you like that? Did you like that transitional story I had?
I love that.
It was like a layup for you. It was like
it is because
Scottie Pippen to Air Jordan. Let's get it in there.
Yes, it is because it's hard. I was telling you this before the show. I don't bet because I'm just very conservative with my money when it comes to certain things. Yes. But so I was I don't want to read an ad about betting and just sound like a complete betting rookie. So thank you. Thank you for your.
Hey, you're welcome. There you go. If I'm ever looking to lose money again, I'm going to go to BetAG and sign up right now.
If I'm looking to throw some money away this weekend, I will go there and make some bets for the divisional round. I can't wait.
Let's go.
Fantastic. It's going to be fantastic. So Paige is here. I'm going to bring her in. Boom.
Yes.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, Paige.
Lucky for you guys, Bet Online is the official partner of the Draft Network. So you should have just let me come in and do the ad read, because I would have just delivered for you guys. But for all of you that degenerates, gather around the campfire. Okay? There's a lot of us, and we all like betting at betonline.ag. So there's plenty to gamble on. There's a lot of matchups, a lot of player props that we're loving. So, feel free to go to thedraftnetwork.com and you can make money, because Jamie's on fire with the player props.
We got double the ad reads on this show.
Love that.
Double the ad reads. If you're looking to advertise with us, go to Believe.com and go to their sponsorship advertising.
Look at that. Look at that. I love it. I absolutely love it. Well done. Thank done.
You. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Well, thanks for coming on the show. Thank you. I was just going to say thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it. We had her on Beauty and the Cleats a couple weeks ago.
We did.
We got to bring her on our show because she's a Bucs fan, also a Bears fan, which we found out too. I'm sorry to hear about that, but she's a Bucs fan as well. So we're like, we got to bring her on the show. So welcome to the show. Thank you very much.
I'm a Chicago girl, so I have to qualify. I am a Bears fan, but I am a family friend of the Arians family. So I am wherever Bruce is coaching, I'm a fan, right? So it's almost more of a fandom. I get way more angry at people who get nasty about the Bucs, because it's like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like a family member. Like, you just get more, you get more angry, you get more emotionally invested. So it's funny because, like, yes, I have grown up a Bears fan, but I'm honestly so immune to their BS at this point that I'm like just like this, not emotional with them. With the Bucs, however, I ride the wave, and I'm new to the wave, and Bucs fans are an interesting bunch. So it's been a very, very roller coaster-esque year is the best way to describe it.
See, I'm right there with you, because if people know me as I have lowered expectations going in each and every season with the Bucs. So I'm there with you. If they disappoint me, my expectations weren't blown out of the water. I'm okay with them losing, just like last year and the year before that and the year before that and the year before that. So going into this year, expectations still low, but now they've kind of been blown out of the water. We'll see how this weekend goes. So I'm there with you when it comes to, you got to ride the wave of mediocrity, especially with a team that's been so bad for so long. So I feel you. I feel you.
Listen, it's amazing to me that we're talking, that the word mediocrity has even entered the conversation when discussing a team that went 11-5, okay, and is in the second round of the postseason. Like, that's the part of me that I'm like, Bucs fans, I get it. You've been tortured for a while, but call Detroit, okay? You want to know what it's like to be perpetually in a state of, we've never even been to the big dance, right? You haven't been around as long as some of these organizations, and you won a Super Bowl. Okay. There are many teams that have not gotten there and have not won the big dance. Okay. So I said, anytime you're feeling bad for yourself, just find a Detroit Lions fan. Okay. And then you stop feeling bad for yourself. I can assure you of that.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that very much so.
Yeah, it could always be worse. Just remind yourself.
Again, I'm a Jags fan.
Worse.
I'm a Jags fan. I can tell you, it's definitely worse. And living in Tampa, the entitlement that Tampa Bay fans have, I'm like, you don't know what it's like to never be good. You have no idea. You have no idea.
You're about to. Listen. I can see you're on the horizon though. You're looking, and you can see something that's very exciting, right? You're like, okay. This is exciting. And you got Trevor Lawrence. That's about as exciting as it gets, considering the Jets found a way to win themselves out of him. So you should really take that as a victory. You should really take that as a victory. Yeah.
I think what Kaylee's trying to leave out is they might be getting Urban Meyer too, her best coaching friend right now. Urban Meyer, that might be coming to be a head coach of her Jacksonville Jaguars. Isn't that right, Kaylee?
It's a painful thought. It kind of puts a damper on all of the great things we have going on, all the draft picks and Trevor Lawrence. It's hard to be excited when that is our most likely next head coach. So,
Kaylee, I agree with you because I think when you look at all of the current coaching vacancies and the draft capital and everything that you have available to yourselves, right? You guys are the most lucrative opening that exists. You have the number 1 overall pick. You've got tons of draft capital. You've got tons of salary cap space. You've got opportunity just that does not exist across the NFL. and they should be courting. They're the hot girl. Like they should be courting all of the boys. Like they should let everybody come to the dance. And instead they're like, no, we're going to go with the old guy that hasn't ever done it. Like, I just don't understand. It just does not make any sense to me.
The old guy that no one likes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're trying to say that the Jags are a almost pseudo sugar baby, and they're going after the old guy and just settling.
The old guy in the corner.
The old guy in the
like
corner.
Florida, maybe almost the state Florida. Maybe the younger girls find the guys with the loot. The older guys, maybe.
This is the hot girl though. This is the hot girl with everything. This is hot girl summer. Like this is the hot girl who's got her own bag, who's got her own life. This is not. She's like sitting back and she's looking. She's like, I can have anything I want. It's not like, oh, I need somebody, right? That's not a sugar baby. This is hot girl summer. And I'm going, okay, Shad Khan, what's going on here, pal? Because you don't understand what this hot girl summer is about. And he apparently doesn't listen to any rap music or know anything about that. Otherwise, no.
He doesn't strike me as a rap kind of guy.
I can't imagine that he listens to a lot of rap music. No, I don't.
This girl's got $75 million in cap space, an offensive player with James Robinson, a great rookie find who did great. Eifert managed to stay healthy-ish. You still have Cole, you still have Laviska Shenault, and you still have, I'm missing one other wide receiver. And
you also have a UDFA that you found, James Robinson, who's going to come in as a top 10 back. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Khan, call me, okay? Let me operate this hot girl summer, okay? I know this. I will be in my bag, and I assure you we will find you a better coach than Urban Meyer. Respectfully to Urban Meyer, he's done a ton of great work in college football. The NFL is a totally different animal, and he's been away from coaching in general for a couple of years. So, Kaylee, I'm with you. I'll pour one out for you when they inevitably hire Urban. Right.
Thank you. Yeah. And Evan, before we jump into the Buccaneers, let's talk about your IPA of the day. Paige, we started this thing last week because Evan's constantly hyping up beers that don't pay us to advertise with our podcast. So we decided to make IPA of the day so Evan can show off his craft.
Look, I can dream. I can dream it. God damn it! I'm a dreamer. One of these days, one of these brewers are like, "Whoa, that's a great idea. I want to sponsor the show." So, more or less, not really an IPA, but more of a Red India Pale Ale. This is from the Tampa Bay Brewing Company. It is the seasonal migration. Yes, look at this nice can. You can see the birds in the background migrating towards Florida. It's a very crisp taste. I like it very much. So, Tampa Bay Brewing Company. Wash up. I also like their silo beer too as well. That's a great IPA. So yes, Tampa Bay Brewing Company. My hat's off to you. Thank you,
Evan. Let me explain to you. This is your second lesson for the day. So we learned about hot girl summer. Then the second lesson is no free shout outs. Okay, so this is a new thing. You're gonna have to come on the show. You're gonna have to say no free shout outs so people understand. At least at a minimum, they have to send you free beer. Right? At least set that threshold for yourself and go, you know what? No free shout outs. You either stock my fridge or you pay me. These are the 2021 rules. I'm trying to bring you in the fold here, Evan. I'm really trying to bring you in here.
I appreciate that.
I like that. Free advice. Let's jump into the Bucs because they pulled off the wild card win. Obviously, their first playoff win in quite some time, their first playoff appearance in quite some time. And they beat the Washington football team 31-23. Now they'll be facing the Saints. But let's recap a little bit about that wild card game. What do you guys feel the Bucs did well? Obviously, besides winning the game, there was a few different areas where they did improve from what we saw over the season. So what stood out to you the most in their win over Washington?
I think spreading the football around. I mean, they're probably, and we've talked about this right before the show came on. I mean, this is a team that's so deep at wide receiver, also tight end. Cameron Brake got into the game. Gronk was used mostly as a run blocker, which was fine with me. I mean, he can still be a viable option, but just all around, just wide receivers. Everybody got some targets. Everybody, it seemed like, scored touchdowns. So they just spread the ball around really well.
I'm going to let Paige take this one.
Yeah, I think just overall, when you looked at what Washington's defense had been doing for the entirety of the year, they were holding teams to under 200. I think it was 191 yards of total passing offense, and Tom Brady threw for like 387 yards in that game. There were only like two other quarterbacks that had thrown for over 300 yards, as Ben Roethlisberger and Jared Goff. So I think a lot of that focus should have been on the fact that while yes, that was a team that only won 7 games, that was a top 10 defense that they were playing on the road, mind you. So I think that was my focal point. A lot of what I think I wanted to see in that game was, okay, what is the offense going to do? How is that offensive line going to hold up? I think obviously you have to give kudos to Donovan Smith for absolutely playing out of his mind, right? Against that's it. That's a very, very strong, defensive line in Washington. And Ron Rivera is a hell of a coach. And every place he's ever coached at, he is getting maximum potential from his and maximum output from not a whole lot in front of him. So I think, although I know Bucs fans would like to think, because somehow they pick apart every victory that they have, win is a win is a win. A postseason win is definitely a win, especially on the road. And I think you saw a lot of things that you can build off of offensively. And luckily for you, you got to see my Chicago Bears put some good things on tape defensively that you can learn from and take into the Saints game. I think that you can really use to your advantage with some key additions, obviously getting some guys back on the defensive side of the ball.
I love the fact they got that run game going against that formidable front seven of the Washington football team. We have all those young guys, Montez Sweat, you got Chase Young, but Fournette, your boy, Kaylee, your boy Fournette, having a touchdown, had an almost 100-yard day. Getting that run game is, I think, the most important thing with this team is getting that going, because if they don't have that, Brady's got to throw it 50, 60 times, and Brady's 43 years old. He can't throw it all day. So I think, that's the template of what they need to do going in the next game against the Saints and now they're going to have Rojo in the mix too. So we get that double-headed monster, with that backfield. So once they established that against Washington, it was good to go all day. I mean, I was impressed, man. With that, especially with Washington having that defense where everybody's like, man, they're a scared defense. They can contain people, but they got that going, man. I loved it. And that to me, we'll talk about the things they did bad, but offense wise, they looked like another kind of complete team going forward. They keep doing this each week by week, and I said this on the last show. They're catching fire at the right time. Now, obviously, that's when you need to do it, going into the playoffs. So that's what I liked about that game was they got the run game going, the offense looked good, Brady was spreading the ball around. It was fantastic. I loved it. It was great. Speaking
of Leonard Fournette, because before we get to picking apart the win as traditional Bucs fans, Fournette, I'm a big believer, and he's good for like 2 to 4 games a season, having a good performance, and the rest are just pretty mediocre. But do you think going into this week, he's going to be as much of a factor on the offense as he was last week? I mean, obviously now the Saints are looking at him as the leading back, whereas last week you're going into a game where Washington, you have Rojo going out pregame with a quad injury. So they're not looking at him all week preparing for him to be, Leonard Fournette RB1. Now the Saints really are going to be looking at him to lead that offense. And even with Ronald Jones in there, they're going to be nursing his injury a little bit. So Leonard Fournette's sure to still get some, touches on the ball throughout this game. Is he going to have the same kind of performance this week that he had last week?
I don't know that he's going to have the same kind of performance, right? I think the reality is you're talking about two teams that know each other really well. So this is the third time they're matching up. So it's not like they're going to see something from Fournette or from Ronald Jones that they're not going to be prepared for, and vice versa. These are not teams that don't know each other. These are divisional teams that know each other. And obviously with Leonard Fournette, you've seen enough on tape over the multiple years from him in the league. So I think, they're going to establish the running game. That's got to be a part of this to open up the offense. That's been the recipe for success for them all year long. But what I will say is, obviously knowing Bruce very well, like whenever you start to buy into thinking you're going to get something, he'll change it up and give you something else, right? Because it's about winning the game, and us guessing at what they're doing is, exactly what he wants Sean Payton and company to be doing, right? So that's kind of where I mean, I can't envision that the run game is not going to be there. And I see that can't run on the Saints. David Montgomery could still run last week. Respectfully, like I saw it. You can run on Saints, and I saw it in 2 games, and the offensive line that you're talking about here is in a completely different place coming off of that, strong performance. And I hope they take that confidence into this game against the Saints, where it is going to be about the trenches again. Like that's what it's going to be about. And they've gotten out physical the last 2 times they played the Saints, and they can't let that happen in this one.
I think
Paige.
Alex Kappa. Well, I don't know if you were about to say the same thing.
I was about Alex Kappa.
Okay, well,
Go
Kappa
ahead.
being out, and I won't dwell on the point. I won't drill it home that hard. But Kappa being out obviously is going to be a big loss. And I think Aaron Staney, I think is how you say his name. I think he's from James Madison. He's been in the league for 3 years. He's played a little bit, so you'll see him fill in. But Paige, I have to agree with you. They're still going to try to run the football. I think this time, or what I'm looking for now, is get Gronk, and maybe I want to get him out, get him down the middle of the field, get him past that second level of linebackers, and try to look for him on just quick slants and kind of halfway down the field. We all know the Bucs can stretch the field vertically now with their full complement of wide receivers. So I think some of those underneath passes and maybe some of those intermediate things could be available for them. But we'll have to see the loss of Kappa. And like you said, Paige, the line that game was unbelievable. I mean, so much to the point to where, I saw I think it was the news today or yesterday where Chase went up to Tom Brady after the game, and it was publicized. They all shook hands, and I think Brady's sending him a signed jersey.
Yeah, Chase Young goes, there's one thing I want from him. He goes, what? I want that. He was pointing to the jersey. And Tom
Jersey, yeah.
I'll send it to you. Hugs and kisses from Tom. That's what it's going to be.
So they played next level last game, and I hope everything stays together, even with the minus Kappa. So,
Paige, I got to ask you about, Antonio Brown's role has been increasing, week to week. Are we going to see like an explosion from him against the Saints? Because, Lattimore's probably going to go obviously against Mike Evans. Are we going to see an explosion from Antonio Brown this week against the Saints?
I mean, everything kind of all the signs point to yes, right? I mean, you obviously know what you're going to get with Lattimore and Evans matching up against each other, which is always
grudge
fireworks.
match. I want to see some left hooks, some right hooks.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a good one, but I think at the end of the day, like the only thing that Mike cares about is winning that football game. So if he's gotta distract Lattimore the whole game to keep other people having opportunities to be open and get to the right receivers, that's what exactly what he will do. And I think what you've seen from Antonio is you have to keep in mind, how far along in the process he came into the fold, right? Not only as a part of trying to figure out being a piece of an offense, but also just being in football shape. People that have never played a sport at this high level don't understand how much reps it takes to just get to the point where you are in game shape. Like the entire league took 4 weeks to get there because they did not have any preseason. Like that is the reason why it took a little longer. And for Antonio Brown, over the last 3 weeks, what you've seen is if you watch his feet look like old AB. They look like Pittsburgh AB, right? And that is not by a miracle. That is because he is getting in game shape. And now that separation that he is able to create when he is on the field is happening because nobody stutter steps like AB when he's at the top level, right? And that is what you've seen over the last couple of weeks. And I don't care who it is. If he's at the top of his game and his feet are moving like they need to, good luck, because he can move and shake anybody.
Any chance he comes back? I know that the Bucs are really in kind of cap hell right now with they got to pay Chris Godwin next year. Any chance that AB says I'll take a little bit of less money to come back, or you think he's going to hit free agency again?
I mean, if he's smart, he will, right? I think the reality is like this isn't like not by design that he's able to have all this success. I think if he's smart and if he understands that he was gifted a chance and a privilege to play in the NFL because Tom Brady is Tom Brady. I think that I don't think he takes that lightly, and I don't think he takes the relationship that he has with Tom lightly either. So I would not be surprised to see him take less and then build in some signing bonuses, right? And get really, one of the things that you can always do with the cap is you can get really creative with, you might not be getting the money here, but you're going to get the money
Incentives.
A, B, C, D, and E, right? And you heard Bruce talk about like, we wanted to get him that incentive, right? Yep. You build in those incentives and then he ends up getting paid a decent amount of money. Also knowing that AB's made quite a bit of money throughout his time. I think, if he really is wanting to win a Super Bowl and it is about, less about him and more about, what he has been preaching, I think there's a good chance he is back in Tampa.
I mean, Tom Brady's I wouldn't say judge of character, but when a guy can go on Instagram and Facebook Live and be crazy for a little bit, and then like go throw a bike at a security cam, and then have the HOA president go, "It's okay, they beat Carolina, it's all right, it's quite all right." Like Tom Brady goes, "Yeah, I still want him on my team. It's okay. He'll be fine. He'll be all right. He can stay with me and Giselle. Just stay over in the left and white ring of Derek Jeter's mansion. He'll be fine. We'll keep him on lockdown. He won't be let out after 9 p.m. Tom Brady's just like, look, I got this. He won't. Yeah,
the word you're looking for is structure, man. Like a lot of people, a lot of grown ass people need structure in their lives, right? And it would have a lot more success having the discipline that Tom Brady has. The difference between Tom Brady and everybody else is discipline. Like he's not more physically gifted and by a long stretch than a lot of the players we see in the NFL. Why is he better than everybody? Why is he the GOAT? Because he's got more discipline. He's got more competitive nature than anybody else. And that's what keeps him at the high level that he competes at. And it's good for AB to have that in his life.
He's also we all know he's a vampire. You don't have to hide it. He's a vampire.
Drinks the blood of children, eats kale salads all day. He's a goddamn vampire.
Guys and gals, do you think AB enjoyed that Steelers game?
That's for real.
You think AB enjoyed that Steelers game watching Cleveland? You think he had just a smidgen of joy there? What do you think?
I'm gonna envision yes. Right. I'm going to venture to say that there is now that's coming from somebody who enjoys pettiness. So keep that as yes. But I think there's enough sauce there that he probably sat back and went, yeah, I enjoy the fact that I'm still in the postseason and Ben Roethlisberger isn't,
I got you.
So looking at this defense, obviously, like you said, a playoff win is a win, but are we at all concerned about the defense? Because you have to give it to Washington. They had uncertainty at quarterback, obviously Taylor Heineke coming in, Alex Smith kind of being declared out for that game earlier in the week, but he was able to do some really impressive stuff, especially in the second half. He was able to lead a few drives that were very impressive, move the ball, kind of slice and dice the Buccaneers defense in a way that maybe they weren't able to do in the first half, and then, sneak it in on his feet in the end zone and really bring this game that kind of seemed too far away or out of their grip really into perspective in a way that they could potentially come back and win in the second half of the game. Obviously that didn't happen, but he still looked really good for a guy who was a second string quarterback in the XFL and then came in as the quarantine quarterback in the NFL. Are you at all concerned about this defense going forward? I know there's big plays, but their consistency is just something that leaves a little to be desired. What do you think?
I mean, their consistency is definitely, it's not consistency. It's losing Vita Vea. Like they haven't been the same team since that. I mean, he has impacted so much and does so much for that team. Am I concerned about the defense as a whole? No. Am I concerned about the secondary as a whole? Yes. Right. That's it's total.
The whole thing. Yep.
Two completely different questions. Now that being said, Drew, respectfully to his career, cannot move around like the quarterback that they just saw, okay? Which creates issues and dynamics that Drew can no longer do. When I mentioned it earlier, the Chicago Bears put a lot on tape that you can watch and learn from, because going into last week, and maybe Bucs fans don't know this, the Chicago Bears did not have a single starting cornerback playing in that game. They were completely down, and they were down Roquan Smith in the second level. So they had to very much so play a type of defense that I think the Bucs are going to have to learn from to get in Drew's face and make him uncomfortable and get that pass rush going, because they don't match up well in the secondary. They just do not. And if he has time, he will pick them apart. That is the reality. And the Bears knew that as well. They were like, listen, we know we're going to lose the one-on-one matchups on the outside. So guess what we got to do? We got to get to Drew. We got to make him uncomfortable. And that is exactly what they did. So that is exactly what the Bucs need to do. Whether they do that or not is to be determined. But I think they, Todd Bowles is a very, very smart defensive coordinator. Quite sure he's going to have some things dialed up. And obviously, Devin missing the game in Washington was a huge loss for that defense. So I think that obviously changed the dynamics coming into this game.
I'll tell you one thing, though. I think the Bears are going to be making a call to Taylor Heineke and go, I want a Heineke. I want Heineke to come to Chicago and replace Trubisky. We got Heineke replacing Trubisky. Come on, Paige. Come on.
It's as much as I enjoyed the 15 minutes of fame that Taylor had, I'm gonna go with the fact that the evaluators in the NFL probably knew something when he was on the way out and playing in the XFL. Sometimes it's a little easy to have
graduate of Old Dominion. Come on now. Come on.
Rivera already saw him in Carolina. So Rivera already knew who he was. So, I mean, he spotted that and knew that. And that's, he brought him along and said, hey, I know this guy. He can do it.
Listen, if you can move around a little bit, you can at least do something, right? It's like, at least if you got some level of mobility, you can at least create a dynamic that's different than, sticking a statue back there who also isn't a great quarterback, right? So unfortunately for Mitch is super athletic and can run around. They just don't let him. So he is terrible as a quarterback.
Paige, when it comes to the one-on-one matchups, we've got Lattimore versus Mike Evans. We've got Tristan Wirfs, going against Cam Jordan. Which of those matchups are the Bucs more powerful or better on, and which one's weaker for those matchups?
Man, it's hard. Like, Lattimore has really owned Mike. As good as much as I love Mike, man, he's like before Bruce was out there coaching, like, Mike is just he's just like a quiet superstar. Like, I'm glad that the NFL is, because of Tom Brady, is like paying attention to him more this year, but the dude has just been silently putting up numbers since he walked into the NFL with absolutely really nothing around him to show for it. So I'm, happy that he is getting those accolades, but I do think for whatever reason, there's always certain matchups that lean one way versus the other. And Lattimore has definitely, kind of owned Mike in those places. Now, on the flip side, Tristan Wirfs and Cam Jordan is really interesting to me, right? Because we haven't had enough of that, because Tristan is a rookie, to really go one side or the other. What I will say is I think Tristan has the ability to own that matchup. Respectfully to Cam Jordan.
Bitch slap Cam Jordan.
I want him to manhandle Cam Jordan.
Bitch slap.
That's not going to happen.
No. We don't need 15-yard penalties. We need really damn good blocking. That's what we need.
Figuratively, not actually bitch slap. I'm talking about just manhandling your boy.
This is an old pass rusher. He knows all the tricks of the trade. He's still going to get upfield. He's going to get into Wirfs' body. Now, Paige, I agree with you. Wirfs is one of the most athletic, explosive lineman that we've seen in a hot minute. He's got long arms. As he can keep Jordan away from his body and keep him out there with those long arms, you have a chance. But let's not kid ourselves. This is an experienced pass rusher, knows what he's doing. He's going to get in there for one or two plays. I don't think he's going to manhandle him all day. So we'll have to see. Containment will be key. You don't want him to have a huge game. You know that he's probably going to get a pressure or two. You don't want any sacks, but I would roll away maybe opposite direction, probably.
I love all these Facebook comments.
I was gonna say, are you guys getting? Who are all these Saints people that are jumping in?
I feel like they're not Saints people. I feel like they're just anti-Bucks people. If I had to guess,
I think I know who this is. This might be Radio Johnny from the JP Peterson show. He's doing this anonymously because he is a Saints fan, even though he lives in Tampa. So this might be Radio Johnny. I think that might be this guy that's trolling everyone.
Whoa. There's a guy that hosts a show.
He's an executive. He's an executive producer on the JP Peterson show, which airs on 8:20 a.m. every Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. He's the executive producer. And that's so I knew it. So he's doing this anonymously.
He's doing it anonymously, yeah.
So nobody can figure it out, but obviously I figured it out. So I
Yikes. It's like, listen, dude, I get it. You live in Tampa, though. You gotta keep that. If you're gonna try and be inconspicuous, you gotta be a little bit more inconspicuous than Evan figured it out in 2 seconds. Yeah, that wasn't a good job there, pal.
Yeah, no, I was sure it was like just some Bucks hater, but Paige, one of the things the Saints do the best is just getting that defense going on first and second down so they don't have to come as hard on third down. They're really good at putting quarterbacks in 3rd and long situations, getting some pressure and forcing 4th downs and forcing teams to punt. Do you think Tom Brady, who kind of struggled in the beginning of the season on those 3rd and long type of situations, made some mistakes, people were questioning his accuracy, his arm strength, all of that kind of leading into the back half of the season. Do you think that that could be an area of concern for Tom Brady, or do you think Tom Brady's in playoff Brady mode, kind of ready to just keep this fire burning?
I think Brady's in playoff Brady mode. You're talking about almost 2 quarterbacks that have completely opposite spectrum playoffs over the last decade, right? Like I respect the hell out of Drew, and if I wasn't rooting for the Bucks because of Bruce, I would probably root for Drew to get another one because he's like an all-timer. But this is the worst version of Drew that we're going to see in this current status. And for everybody that has, questioned Tom Brady's arm strength, you clearly have not been watching him play football. Like I mean that in the most respectful way I can possibly say it. Like you literally have not been watching him play football. Like he put 2 ball. Like if you go back and watch the film against Washington, there are 2 throws that are FU throws. Okay. They are literally so dumb. Okay. Like it is so ridiculous that you watch that and they stand out so far because the spiral is so tight. It is quite literally, there is nothing. If a quarterback coach was watching it, they could not tell him to do anything other than exactly what they saw. Like it is perfect throws, right? And there are so many variables to do that when you're not in a quarterback drill is almost impossible, right? So watching him at his age make those throws, is insane, right? And as you jokingly put up, like old Tom, right? Like, and it's just like, as much as you've seen a decline in kind of the other older guys, right? When you talk about Drew and you talk about Ben Roethlisberger and even Phillip Rivers, everybody's kind of grouping them all together. Tom's not declining. Tom is not declining. Like these guys are declining. Like you have seen by far and away, Ben Roethlisberger is not the same guy. Like Drew Brees cannot make the same throws that he makes. He's going to give it his all. He's an all-time preparer, all-time competitor. But to your point and to your question, Tom is a different animal in the postseason. And I don't care what team he's playing for. It does not matter. He is the differentiating factor. He brings a different level. And if you know the terminology in college football, people talk about the people you send off the bus, right? To set the tone, right? Because you get scared. The other team is intimidated. Is there any team any person in the history of football that you could send off the bus first that is more intimidating than Tom Brady? The answer is no. Because there is nobody who has the pedigree in the postseason that he does. Nobody. So you send him off the bus and the Saints are sitting there and it's you see Tom with his swaggy little glasses and his really nice coat and his Ugg boots and all his BS. And he walks out and you're like, yeah, that's a $1 billion man. Like that's what you see. Like you're like, yep. Okay, like good luck. Like that is the FU coming off the bus that like nobody wants. So, I expect big things from Tom. I don't care what defense they're playing.
I tell you one thing. If you dressed him like Cam Newton. If you dressed Tom Brady like Cam Newton, would he be the most intimidating person off the bus? I ask you that.
Depends on what outfit we're talking.
You're not going to see Tom Brady in old women's clothes, Chip. You're not going to see him with like a sash or like a scarf. You're not going to see that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
So, Paige, what you're trying to say is we're not going to see Jameis Winston at all during this game, right? We're not going to see him eating W's. Like, I'm kidding, by the way, for that question. That was a dumbass question. I would think of the Bucks. What the Bucks need to do is play that stupid celebration video that they tweeted out after the game, where Jameis is like acting like he did something the whole game, which he's on the sideline on a clipboard, and then eating W's again. Dude, that needs to go in the locker room and play continuously, like on a loop to get them like, I want to destroy this team because they've swept the season series. This is number 3. This is all for it. So if I'm the Bucks, I want to hurt people this game. Like, I want to send Drew Brees in early retirement. He needs to go to CBS and get his TV announcing days going right now instead of having them beat me again. This is go time for this team. That's what I want.
Evan, I can recall right after that game, right? And I'm watching them celebrate. And I had a tough time watching it for a lot of reasons. One, what did you win? Okay, first and foremost. Okay, congrats on your generation where we give you a participation trophy for winning a regular season game. I have absolutely no idea what you're celebrating. The secondary part of that, why the hell is Jameis Winston on camera? Like, literally, I just wanted to be like, bro, I have no idea why you're on camera.
Well, it's like that wooden spoon that you try to like twist in, even though he didn't do anything. Like, I'm on this team that beat you. I didn't do anything. I just held a clipboard, and he's just like, hey, I want to stick it to you, even though like I didn't do jack shit. And it's like that wooden spoon. It's like that little redheaded stepchild that just has to like say, hey, I'm here doing stuff. I'm here. And he's got ADD.
He feels some type of way, and I get that, but it shows that he hasn't matured. And that's a lot of the reason that he needed to like move on and potentially actually win a starting job in the NFL. And he proved that every NFL executive and every NFL GM and every NFL head coach was in fact correct, because he learned nothing and acted like a petulant child celebrating something that he absolutely did not deserve, because he did nothing to earn that victory. So I think that's the part. And to your point, Evan, I think if you know anything about Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady is the petty king. Okay. Tom Brady lives for pettiness. He can recall every person drafted ahead of him. He is psycho MJ Tiger Woods competitive, right? So if you think that bulletin board material that the Saints delivered to them in the regular season, I was praying for this matchup. I was like, please deliver this to me in the postseason, because you saw all of that celebration, and what an absolute way to you had all your little fun, and then you're going to get tap dance on your grave if the Bucs end up winning this, because nobody cares about the regular season. It doesn't matter. Those regular season games will not be talked about. If the Bucs win, that's all anybody will talk about. And
you got science teacher against, expendable 7.
Man.
That's what you got.
Logging guy.
You got I want to chop some wood, and then you got Bunsen burner man on the right. That's what
if I was running the Bucs Twitter account, I would 100% have that video ready to go, locked and loaded. Should I be able to hit send as soon as the clock hits 0. I mean, I'm not telling you that's what to do if you're running the Bucs Twitter account, but that's what you should do if you're running.
Obviously, that's what she's telling the Bucs social media.
What's up, Jill, who runs the Twitter account? Let's dial in those drafts. Let's get. I'm quite sure she's got
100%
quite a few things saved in the drafts that she's prepared and hoping she gets to drop when and if the Bucs take care of business against the Saints.
Paige, what kind of game are we going to see? Are we going to see a high scoring game? Are we going to see, a slobber knocker of just a defensive, low score, and we're going to have field goal kicking all day? What kind of game are we going to see on 6:40 p.m. on Sunday?
I think
what a weird ass time, dude. 6:40? Come on. Do we have to save time for 60 minutes? Was that what's going on? We have 60 minutes coming up on CBS. 6:40? Come on. That's dinner time for some people, for God's sakes.
It is an awkward time, that's for sure. I think you're going to get somewhere in between, right? You're not going to get, a crazy 40-point performance. I think you're going to get somewhere in between, like a 27, 24 something kind of range between both teams. I think both teams probably max out at 30 points. I see both teams putting up points, but I also know that I expect both defenses to show up and play, tough games here. And I expect, like I said earlier, that it'll be a lot about the trenches, like who's going to win these battles on the offensive line and on the defensive line, and who's going to create pressure, because both of these quarterbacks struggle when they get guys in their face, right? Both sides. Neither one of them is moving around. They never have, and they especially won't right now in their older age. So I think that's where you kind of look at this and you go, okay, that's what you need to see. You need to see a battle, and I hope the Bucs, kind of take care of business with that.
Yeah, right now, I mean, looking at some of the betting numbers and just the betting public, the overall feeling is that the Buccaneers right now, the experts are taking the points, which is 3, and the over-under is 52. So kind of what you said, I totally agree, Paige, like a 27-24 division rivalry. I mean, these teams have already seen each other twice before. And also, Paige, what you said, getting these guys off their mark. They're set, they have timing routes, and those are the things they've done so great for so many years. And even though Drew Brees is banged up, we're not really going to have the best version of him. Obviously, I think this is his last year. But getting them off their mark and making them be mobile, throw on the run, and mess up their timing will be important. So, Paige, I'm going to jump away from the NFL real quick just to ask you, Justin Fields, we were talking about mobile quarterbacks, and he took one crushing hit, which I still don't think was targeting. Personally, I've lost the definition of targeting now in college football. But you saw him last night get out of the pocket, and he was still kind of mobile as far as gaining, I think, 25 or 30 yards in one play. How do you think he's going to be affected going into the draft and going into the combine? Do you think he's going to be – do you think he'll have everything together with all these injuries, ribs and things of that nature? Or do you think he hurt his draft stock last night, or how do you think he did?
No, I think, between the performance against Clemson and this performance, he was already getting slotted behind Zach Wilson, who was a big riser this year within the NFL draft community. I think most people still have Justin Fields in the second slot as QB2, right behind Trevor Lawrence. You can't look at the performance against Alabama and weight it more than you do against Clemson, right? I mean, he had against a team that nobody beats, right? And he went up against QB1 and they sucker punched that team, right? I mean, he threw for 6 touchdowns. He was unbelievable against that Clemson team, right? So when you're looking at that versus him playing, against an Alabama team that, quite frankly, is so much better than everybody else. I mean, they are going to put back-to-back years quarterback and 2 wide receivers and an offensive lineman, potentially 2 offensive linemen in the first round. That is absolutely outrageous, right? It is absolutely outrageous that they have that level of talent out there. And unfortunately for Sean Wade, he opened his mouth and then he got all the smoke, right? I mean, I think that really was not his best move.
No.
And Devonta Smith, put him in a quiet position very, very quickly. But I don't anticipate Justin Fields hurt his draft stock. And the combine is to be determined, guys. So I think you're looking at, okay, a lot of what we're going to have to do with evaluation is look at what we've seen. And what we've seen for 2 seasons from Justin Fields was very impressive. Because you cannot discount the entirety of his 2019 campaign, which was borderline stupid, where he did not throw an interception in the regular season. I mean, it was so dumb, right? Like you can't look at that and go, yeah, okay, that doesn't matter, right? Like that definitely matters. His total body of work is still more impressive than Zach Wilson's total body of work, but we'll see where the guys have him. I'm quite sure they're all going to be arguing about him when it comes down to it.
All right, one more. Waddle. One gamer. He wanted to get in the game. I saw him for one play. He looked, like 75, 80%.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it felt like for him to know that, man, I really want to get out there. And seeing him go off the field, you knew he was obviously, doesn't need to be anywhere near a football field. You had some pros tweeting out going, man, save it. You're really close. Don't get back out there. I know you guys still have him ranked on your website, I think in the top 10 or one of the top 10 prospects. Do you think he, and like you said, you just answered, we don't know about the combine, so maybe he heals up and everything should be good to go. You think he drops out of the top 10?
So this is a perfect opportunity for me to tell you about the 2 boards that exist on the draftnetwork.com, right? So if you go in, so there is a consensus board, which is how we rate the players, right? And then there is our predictive board, which is how we think the draft is actually going to happen, right? Because a lot of times we don't have a first round grade on Mac Jones, but we have him in the predicted board going in the first round, right? So that's where the two differentiating factors, if we are giving our top 10, is how we rate these players, right? This is what we would do. Then the predictive board will show you, okay, based off of need, based off of how teams draft, based off of the GM tendencies, this is what we assume will be in the predictive board. I think Jalen Waddle will still stay from our consensus board. As far as talent, he will stay in that level because he is that talented. And the injury that he has is not a major one that he is going to have to come back from, right? An ankle injury where he was already coming back a couple weeks in. I feel bad for him because I know you could tell emotionally just how invested this Alabama team was as a whole, right? Which I think is a kudos to Nick Saban, because the fact that he can manufacture that year after year with different players is ridiculous, right? When you're talking about a guy who's going to go in the first round and he's willing to risk that because he loves his team that much, that is really powerful, man. So like the recruiting was at a high level for Alabama yesterday, because you've got Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith talking about that and talking about how much it means to be an Alabama, alumni and what that means to play in that football game. I don't envision you're going to, see him drop out too far, because I think the injury, they'll be able to get it to a point 4 months from now, right? You're talking about quite a big deal from now, where everybody gets we'll get the medicals back and we'll be feeling pretty confident in him. And man, two talented dudes, right? So talented, him and Devonta Smith.
Yep. That's what I had, Kaylee. I'm not gonna steal her anymore.
Paige, I got two things for you before we get you out. Thanks for coming on the show. The matchup between the Packers and the Rams. Who would you rather face if you're the Bucs team? Obviously, we beat the Packers in the regular season, lost against the Rams. Who would you rather face? Would you want to face the bad man as an Aaron Rodgers because he's playing out of his mind right now? Would you want to, face the Rams again just to get that payback for this year?
150% the Rams. Do not want the smoke in Lambeau. I'm going to tell you that right now. As somebody who has lived and breathed that division for a long time, there is nobody that should tell you that they want to go to Lambeau Field in the postseason. That they just,
he likes it up there.
Yeah, it's just it's just one of those places, man. Like especially with Aaron and the way that team is playing, the way that they're playing right now, and just a little bit of that factor of like that team embarrassed, like Tampa embarrassed that team, right? So you never want to walk into the situation where you already have the bulletin board material, right? Like, vice versa with the Saints. So I don't think that's going to matter, because I think the reality is you're probably going to be playing Green Bay, right? I'm not going to
face that bad man.
Yeah, I'm not going to pick the Rams. Like I hope more than anything, trust me, there will be nobody happier and more obnoxious on social media if Aaron Rodgers loses to John Wolford and Jared Goff. Like, trust me, it will. There's nothing that will bring me. Not even a Bears victory could bring me that much joy. Like, that's how much pettiness I would get from that. So I hope that happens for you, but I unfortunately think you're going to be looking at a rematch if they come out at Lambeau Field.
I don't know if I want to face
hurt ribs too, so that's another positive.
How many of those Mighty Swell cocktails did you slam down after the Bears, losing?
Oh, very many.
I gotta tell you, your bartending skills are on point. You were just shaking it up and then pouring it down.
Bartending in college. You gotta have a side hustle to make money while you're going to school. So I was bartending in college, so I can mix myself up a good drink, which is pretty necessary when you grow up watching the Chicago Bears. So it's not unlike any other year when I'm used to watching them and making myself many cocktails.
Yeah, Evan, thank you for that. Yeah, thank you for that transition into my question. My last question for you was, are you switching up the cocktail this weekend? What is it going to be if you are? Because your last one looked amazing. So any tips or any insight on the recipe for this weekend?
The recipe may or may not be Buccaneers themed this upcoming week. It may or may not involve, a different, what I would say, different flavor coming from Mighty Swell. So there are a couple if I did a Mighty Swell big board, it would be a pretty tough decision for me between Blackberry and Peach. They would be fighting, and maybe depending upon my day, I would have to pick one over the other. So I did Blackberry last week. It's going to be Peach this week with some other ingredients. Really easy to mix up, and I'll be posting that for all the Bucks fans who apparently they were really upset with me last week because apparently I was, I owed them a cocktail. I was like, whoa, I'm sorry that I upset you. And Bill's Mafia was like, hey, where's our cocktail? I'm like, listen, y'all haven't been here for a long time. I'm sorry. I didn't know if I was going to be able to count on you. I knew the Bears were going to lose. So I knew that I could do that video that. I banked on that. Now I got to bank on Tom Brady being the GOAT, which I feel pretty good about.
You got to try the Antonio Brown shot. That's what you got to do.
What is this?
I'm scared.
Jägermeister and Goldschlager on top. That's the Antonio.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be a no. That's gonna be a no from Evan. That's you know what? I would have had to have had a lot of cocktails to say yes to that shot. Many cocktails.
I mean, it'll taste. Nah, it's not even gonna taste.
No,
it's not gonna work. Whatever you say.
No.
It'll make you want to throw bikes at security cameras.
That I can see. I can see. Yeah.
Well, Paige, thanks for coming on the show and hanging out with us for the show. We appreciate it. You can follow Paige at the sports_page and also at the Draft Network on Twitter and all social media platforms. Paige, thank you. We got to have you on again, especially when the draft comes up. We love talking draft. We were at the combine last year, so depending on what they do, we'll find out in a couple of months or so. So, Paige, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, I usually have a pretty good pulse on what they're going to do draft wise. So I think I'll be excited to come join you guys for the draft.
Awesome. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Paige.
Great.
I just came up with that Antonio Brown thing, by the way.
Did you make that up?
I just made it up.
That does sound like a drink that, if I were envisioning Antonio Brown at a bar just ordering a shot, that's exactly what I would imagine him ordering.
I mean, because obviously, he's a dark skinned brother, but then remember when he had the gold, the yellow hair?
The hair, yeah.
Yeah.
You got the Goldschlager on top, man, and then it's just going really bad going down, and then just makes you
stop flexing that brain muscle, dude.
I know.
It's too big.
Those are deep cuts right there. I was like, if I took that shot, I too probably would be very aggressive and angry. So
I'd throw a bike at a fence.
It make you want to fight some people and throw some bikes at security cameras. Just make sure your HOA president is okay with you doing that, and they're a Bucks fan. So
hey, that's all that matters.
Love talking with Paige, and also just hearing her insights. Obviously, on being a fan and knowing BA as a person and a coach, and I mean, just hearing the stories that she's had to go through. I mean, being a Bears fan and then having to deal with the Bucks Nation coming at her quick and fast.
Oh my gosh. Entitled fan base, you guys are.
Well, wait. Let's pump the brakes on that. Let's pump the brakes on the entitlement. I'm not a part of that. I am not a part of the entitlement.
That's fair. You are a very logical Buccaneers fan.
Thank you.
I'm speaking to the royal you,
the Royal Highness, which is Bucks Twitter and Bucks Facebook, they think it's
a scary place, a dark hole of tears.
That's like the that's like the bathroom at a really dive bar you don't want to. And it's got the cutout. It's the cutout in the bathroom where you don't want to look into because
there's just a hole, and you're is that a camera? Is that a what's happening? And then there's scary words all over the wall, and the mirror's hanging off, and it's sideways and cracked. Yeah.
For a good time, call such and such at
Wow, you guys go to a lot of those places still. I try to. I leave when I see that.
Listen, Chip, it was a dark time in my life. I may have frequented those places from time to time. It was a long time ago. So
I'm glad you're on the straight and narrow now. But before we get out of here, let's rapid fire. Give me your one key to a Bucks win.
Whoa!
I know I'm throwing you.
You're doing a special rapid fire. I like this.
Sorry.
I would say okay. Wait, you want me to go first, Chip, or you want?
Go ahead.
Rapid fire for this. So the one key to them is I'll go back to it. It's the run game. I think obviously the Saints have Kamara, and he's going to be probably running all day. But the Bucks need to get the run game going because now they got, depending how healthy Rojo is, Fournette looked good against Washington. They've got a great defense, but then you're going up against the Saints, who also have a great defense as well. So I think once they get the run game going, and that takes a little bit off of Tom Brady too, even though he likes to throw and likes to spread the ball around all day long. but they need to get that going because if they're getting stifled at the line and that run game's not going, it might be a long day for the Bucs because then Tom Brady's got to throw it 50, 60 times. And I mean, we've seen that before. What's that? What did you say?
Into a pretty good secondary.
Yeah. So I would say get the ground game going. And I want to see those matchups, man. I want to see Lattimore and Mike Evans just have a grudge match and just punching each other in the face and just uppercutting each other in the not really.
I mean, yeah, they can't kill each other and go to the hospital and leave the game, but I just think you got to find a way to first down, and we talked about this, and Kayla, you brought it up earlier. The Saints are always getting chunk plays first down. They're getting that 7 or 8 yards to make it really easy. If the Bucs can eliminate those chunk plays and get the Saints into, awkward, third downs more than they're used to, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, hold on that first down play. Don't let them get a chunk yards. Don't let them get 6 or 7 yards. So stop the momentum and stop the chunk plays. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what Devin White does, if he's going to shadow Kamara out of the backfield or if they're going to kind of slide him, because we know Kamara out of the backfield is just unbelievable. He has the chance to go all the way when he catches it. You're not wrapping up. So it'll be interesting to see what they do and how they slide the defense. Levante David will be a busy man too. So we'll see what happens.
Kaylee, what's your rapid fire? What's your X factor? What's your
so I have 2. One is just score in the red zone. I think that's something they've had trouble with all season. We saw it again last week in the second half. I think it's kind of why that game looked a lot closer in the second half than it probably should have. Too many field goals for my taste. The second is, I don't know if you've noticed, but if you're watching the Saints-Bears game and their regular season game, they have a player on defense, Gardner, what's his name? No,
Chauncey Gardner.
Yep.
He's a safety.
Gardner Johnson.
Florida. Yeah, Gardner Johnson.
Now basically enticed 2 different players on the Bears to swing at him, therefore getting ejected. And for some reason, if he wants to make this a running tradition, just imagine Antonio Brown and this guy going at it on the field. I'll just leave that there. It's a fun thing for me to envision.
Take some Antonio Brown shots afterwards. Did you guys? Okay. Did you watch? Look, we're gonna go over. I don't care. Did you watch the? Did you watch the Nickelodeon broadcast of the games?
I don't want to watch another game that's not on Nickelodeon. I don't want to watch another game not on Nickelodeon.
It was so awesome. Like the way
it was so fun.
Oh my! The slime in the end zone. Like they put like graphics on the players' faces. The commentary I could do without. Like they dropped an F-bomb on live TV, by the way. But like
I know.
But it was so interactive. It was so cool. Like I switched. I was like, I have to go to Nickelodeon to check this out. And I'm glad I did because it was the most like they dropped so many like old school stuff from Nickelodeon. Like why haven't this done? Like this hasn't been done before. I don't know why. Like this brings in I could deal without the young Sheldon stuff. Like obviously he was explaining the game to like kids and everything, but I could do without that maybe once in a while. But that to me, like the NFL is always leaps and bounds in front of everybody when it comes to like expanding the brand. Like that brings in like a new generation of like fans of the NFL. While the like Major League Baseball is going, okay, we're gonna maybe let in some people this year, and we're gonna like maybe not broadcast games on blackout dates, and we're not gonna expand our brand. Like NFL goes, we'll go on Nickelodeon, man. We got slime showers all day. We'll do this to make it fun. Like that was. They should do that for the Super Bowl, honestly.
I want to see it every week. I never want it to end. I want every week to have one game on Nickelodeon. I cannot watch it any other way. If the NFL is listening, I don't want it if it's not Nickelodeon.
Give me Mark Summers from Double Dare as one of your commentaries. He would do a fantastic job. And then Dave Coulier from Full House. Like that, dude. That's your broadcasting team right there. Oh man, yeah, you could throw in Nate Burleson. He did all right.
I'll watch any game on Nickelodeon. Like that's the thing is like if you put the worst game of the week, which to be fair, that was the worst game of the week. And if you put it on Nickelodeon, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to organize my entire weekend plan around watching that Nickelodeon game. Doesn't matter. All
right, everybody calm down. We're not doing all in Nickelodeon games. Jesus, dude.
Chip, I was waiting on you remember the show, it had the big Inca statue would talk to you, and it was a game show where you'd go through the fucking Inca
It's
Mountains.
Nick Arcade, wasn't it?
Nick Arcade. It was another one. It was like you had the big Inca statue that would like talk to you and give you
and volcanoes and stuff.
Yeah, dude, I have that in like the end zone going touchdown or something like, dude.
Thursday night games. If you want to do it for every Thursday night football game, I will totally be in on that.
Okay.
I'm here for it.
Do it Thursday nights.
Even though Radio John has been doing like Saint stuff all day, all show, he does bring up a good point. Tomorrow night,
Legends of the Hidden Temple. Look at him go there.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. Thank you, Josh and Johnny. But Johnny brings up a good point. Tomorrow night, Lightning starts tomorrow. They they lower the banner tomorrow night, even though no fans will be in attendance, even though they were going to say fans will be in there. But I'm excited. Lightning hockey is back. I'm a little bit disappointed. I was really looking forward to going to Amalie Arena to watch some hockey games, even though we've got the Raptors there for some reason. Like the NBA doesn't care. They want fans to come in and get COVID. But like, I wish the NHL would maybe loosen up the reins a little bit. I know we're going over a lot. This is fine. But Chip, what are your thoughts on that? Are you okay with? Are you a little sad, a little disappointed?
I mean, yeah, I'm disappointed. We always love to, go. That game we went to, Evan, was fantastic.
We got a little
so yeah, I mean, it sounded like the NHL is obviously they're going to lose a lot of money. The season was shortened, I think, to 56 games. Commissioner Bettman came out and talked a lot about the season itself, and they want to keep it for the players and the normalcy and some of the things going on in the NHL. I don't know. I hope it opens up eventually, but obviously the Lightning are a different team. They're minus Cooch. They had to cut some salary caps, so they had to get some new players.
Trades there.
Yeah, trades as well. So, but yeah, definitely we'll watch the Bolts. They're playing the Chicago Blackhawks, I believe.
Oh man, that last game we went to was a little saucy, man. That VIP.
Yeah. Oh, buddy, it was a good time.
I feel like they should have done what the Lakers did and wait to do banner unveiling until fans can go. Like, is that just, I don't know. Like, are they doing the entire thing? Because I just feel like the Lakers got their rings, but they were like, we're going to wait to do the banner and unveil and like celebrate until our fans are in the arena. So I feel like they could have maybe done that. If
Vinnick is smart, which he is a smart man, I would rather see them lower the banner when fans eventually go back. Because that's a special moment because the fans are, a big part of that organization. We're a big part of that, for them to win. So I think I would say hopefully they wait to lower the banner because that would be a special moment for everybody. You have Thunderstruck playing in the background. You got fireworks going on. Me and Chip are going to do some shots of Antonio Brown and drinking Jack and Cokes all night. Crazy. We'll start some fights on the ice. It'll be great. It'll be fun.
No one's doing Antonio Brown shots with you. I'm sorry.
I'll do an Antonio Brown shot.
How much do you think that would cost? Jaeger with Goldschlager on top?
For like $19 or something.
Yeah.
Oh God, it would be an arm and a leg.
At Amalie, it'll probably cost $50 just for one shot. It's like that big. So
for sure.
Any work with Paige and shoot that shot in if maybe you do some cross networking. She makes her drink and then you have to do the shot.
Oh,
I like that. A collab.
Yeah, Johnny boy, you're kind of dead to us until after this weekend. So
I love how he's like coming in on the back end trying to be like nice and all sweet and about the Lightning, and now as if he didn't like harass the show for the past hour about the Saints, but it's fine, no big deal. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Huge game. Really excited for the Buccaneers. I mean, matchup wise, this is going to be a dogfight, and kind of what Paige said, and we've all alluded to. This will be the third time. You don't want to get swept. There's enough bulletin board and enough ammunition. I think the Bucs are peaking at the right time. I think they've found themselves for this matchup and really need to bring it home. So yeah, it'll be a good Sunday. 6:40. Tuck in the children. Pass out the ammunition.
I think we've got a special show on Thursday. We've got the Believe in Saints podcast host coming on to we'll do a little matchup debating with them to see who wins out of that. So that'll be fun on Thursday night, and then go Bolts, man. Let's defend the title. Let's go back to back. I eventually want to go. I want to see the games, man. Like I'm tired of being stuck in my house, for God's sakes. I want to go out and get crazy, do Antonio Brown shots with my boy Chip. And Kaylee, if you want to do one, you can do that too.
No thanks.
And Josh, I like 27-24. That's what I like, Bucks.
I'm going to go 31-28. That's what I'll do for my score.
I was going to say 31-27.
Okay.
Close.
We're all in that same.
I'm not going to say
ballpark.
who I have.
I'm going to say Bucks, of course, but
winning that game. But
well, whatever. We know you're not really a Bucks aficionado.
I provide the anti-Bucks fan. I'm not anti-Bucks fan, but I provide the external point of view on this podcast.
There you go.
I thought I was doing that.
No, you what? With your Homer takes every week? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah, okay. But, no. All right. But thank you guys for tuning in the comments. Make sure to tune in on Thursday night at 8 p.m. and follow us on Twitter, Play the Bay TB, Facebook, Play the Bay, 2020? And
2020.
Yep. YouTube and the Believe Podcast Network, Play the Bay, and we will see you guys on Thursday.
Subscribe on iTunes and also Spotify. We need subscribers.
Fire the cannons!
Bye.